get in there. August 9th.
Forward to 20 seconds.
Really good. I had time in Dallas.
Welcome to Lethal Sales Live for the weekly podcast for car people who played at WIN. Nope.
All right. Well, we are live, and we've got the first section of the crew here. It was a really interesting show last week. If you didn't check it out, that was probably the most fun I've had on an HR show ever, and I've done a few, so I can tell you that. And to give you some kudos, Larry, just in case you didn't know, even Sandy had a good time. She was like, I'm going to try and come on again because it was like the best HR show I've ever been on. I was like, wow.
That's like Yasser Arafat saying that Jewish honorary dinner was really nice.
So I thought I would mention that because it was about passion today. And we were talking a little bit about, I guess, was HR broken last week? If you didn't watch the show, you can check it out on the YouTube channel. You can also check it out on the company page on LinkedIn. And I think it's streamed on X as well. So definitely check out Lethal Sales. And we were talking about passion. And I had to start with talking about earlier before we started with Ron about my dad and his opinions of how you should work. He says, show up early, know what the hell you're doing, and work harder and keep moving forward. And to me, that was something that really was echoing with me today. I talked to a gentleman from Lot Pop, and he had the wrong phone number on his LinkedIn profile. So when you call it, it says number is disconnected. And he's in sales. So I called him right away. I said, dude, you probably should fix that. Oh, I was the only one I didn't fix. I'm like,
Good to see you, Doug.
Hey, how are you guys?
Doing really good, man. Always good to see you on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to be here.
As well as Mr. Larkin and Mr. Summer.
Hey, it's good to be seen, not viewed.
Oh.
Okay.
So let's start to talk about passion, I guess, since that's kind of what the show's about, Larry. I mean, you try to inspire some passion and fire into some of these younger and older people every single day. What are you hearing from people who, want to get in the car business or are in the car business who maybe, are missing a few steps? There's some gaps.
Well, I think the problem, and I think you'll all agree with me, is not limited to the car business. I think because we remove so much of the human touch from life, that we're so addicted to screens and non-contact sports, if you will, that I just don't think we're as passionate as we should be. And this is really going to sound kind of dark, and I don't mean to be so dark. The only ways we really are passionate are in bad ways, because we're having less conversations and more typed comments. People get very nasty and evil and dark because they're not looking you face to face, right? Do we all agree that if people said to your face what they put on a post, you punch them in the head? So the passion is misplaced in the sense that if people are really feeling negative, they're glad to pour that all out all over you. And if it's a positive thing, we're not used to it. And again, I'm going to sound like a curmudgeon that's saying get off of my lawn, but I'm crazy, but I tend to be polite. I'll wave people in front of traffic. I open the doors for people, particularly women. It kind of blows my mind when you hold the door for somebody, and instead of saying a simple thank you or not, they like walk by you like you're entitled. So I think that people that don't have passion, instead of wasting time getting upset with them, we should feel sorry for them. I always quote my boy Einstein. There are two kinds of people who think nothing is a miracle and people who think everything is a miracle. I'm in the latter category. I'm just glad I'm breathing. I'm glad I can do everything I get to do. And I don't think I've been accused of horrible things, but never of not being passionate. Agree, Ian?
But never convicted, right? Never convicted.
Well, excuse me, I'm in America. If they convict you, they just let you out. It's the only time I'd be for no cash bail is if I got arrested.
Well, I'm thinking about that scene in Stripes where they're signing up, and he goes, "Have you ever been convicted of any crimes?" No, never convicted. Accused of lots.
Hey, we got Doug Reeves, who's an infrequent guest, and we got some cool people I think are going to post up shortly. Doug, tell us about your passion and what drives you, and you know, the joy you get every day doing what you do and how you do it.
Well, it's interesting. You talked about opening a door for others and people not saying anything. I was taught at a very young age, when you give a gift, don't expect anything in return. You do it for the joy of giving the gift. That's even if the small gift is opening a door. But as far as passion goes, I think.
Well, wait a minute, Doug. So you're a believer that you can give a gift, but you don't need anything in return. Rhonda, add him to my Hanukkah list. I like that.
Every day.
How well you make out in a
I'm
well.
sorry, Doug. I love you so much I couldn't resist. Go ahead, please.
No worries. No, I mean, when it comes to passion, you know, sometimes you take a job and you take it because it's a job, but then as you realize what the mission of the company is and what you can really do for whomever you're serving, the passion develops over time. You know, unfortunately, the company I'm with now, A to Z, I believed in their mission of changing people's perception of buying cars at dealerships. I believed in the idea, and I still do, of making the purchase of a car a joy for the person selling and the person buying. And that's what fuels me. And frankly, even in my old job, carrot and stick pay plans never worked for me because I just believed in what we were doing. And I just knew that, hey, if I just did the right thing, the rewards will come anyway. So I didn't really worry about that. And I think that's kind of what's ingrained in me is if you believe in the mission and at the core is what you really believe, then it's pretty easy to be passionate about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree with you more. And once again, repeating what I said earlier, think how lucky you are and I am that we were excited about what we did. Because if you're miserable on the job and you go out to a customer, you're making them miserable, right? We've all had a bad day and somebody smiles at you or says something or they're nice to you and it kind of lifts your spirits a little bit. So I think if there was ever a self-perpetuating thing, I think it's a good attitude. Hey, we got Jeff Shear on. Jeff, before we jump in about your passion play, were you able to get a hold of Ron?
Not yet, but he's on our list tomorrow. You and I are circling up to call.
Cool.
Thank you.
And we had a comment from Jamie Alexander. She wanted to say good evening, all. If you don't know Jamie on LinkedIn, she's of like mind. She's got opinions, but I think they're entertaining and positive. So definitely check her out on LinkedIn. Jamie Alexander, thanks for joining. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm starting to do some business with Jeff Shearer. I'm going to endorse what he does, and he's going to pull a lot of my things out and digitize them. So, since we really try to do things for the good of the community, I think Mike Larkin, maybe you could organize it. We could start taking up a fund so he can have some therapy because being in business with me can drive him completely crazy.
Go fund me, huh?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry. You know how Larkin's always interrupted. Thank God I'm here to mediate.
Well, I knew it was about passion, but I don't know if I heard the rest of the intro. So
go ahead, Ian. Repeat yourself. You're Canadian.
I was talking.
Decipher it, Ian. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the show is about passion, and we were talking a little bit earlier about how, you know, Larry's in front of people training them, whether it be new hires or older hires or curmudgeons or whatever. And I was talking a little bit about my dad, who's been dead for many years, unfortunately, but he got me really started with, you know, getting there early, knowing what you're doing and doing whatever it takes. And I think when I got in the car business 25 years ago, for me, it was a combination of wanting to help customers and a passion for vehicles. And that seemed like a little bit crazy to some of the people I knew and worked with, but I was really passionate about helping people find the right vehicle. making money at it, that to me was just, a bonus. And I think, to echo Doug Reeves, I mean, when you look at customer experience, and I've been talking about it on the Auto Hub show for over 6 years, I think, that's the differentiator. It was funny, before the show, I saw a post on LinkedIn. This guy said, well, how do you maintain more gross in car sales in 2025? And I said, well, you might actually want to treat the customer right. Maybe it becomes less about the price when you do that. And it was kind of funny, because we had a situation with one of the largest national airlines in Canada, called Air Canada, where their workers went on strike because they weren't being paid when they showed up before they got on the plane, the stewardesses. And the government was like, oh, we got to force them back to work. And I sat there and I went, well, shouldn't you pay the people that deal with your customers on the ground before they get in the air? Like, aren't those the people that maybe you might want to pay? So to me, that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I think it's about, how do you develop that passion, find something you love to do. And to echo to the show last week, where we were talking about HR, which we heard, Larry and I heard was, one of the funniest HR shows I've ever done, from people that maybe aren't as enthused sometimes, not mentioning any names. If you're enthused, it helps, and it makes it a lot easier. And if you're not, then maybe it's not the right job for you, because I believe Sandy was talking about generations and how Gen Z, if they really like it, they'll do a better job. And I would say that's true about all generations. If you don't really like what you do, you probably should find something else to do. Like, it's probably not going to be a good long-term goal for you, in my book. But
And all people need hope, and they need motivation. They need a reason. I say it a lot, but it's true. I've seen old people that were fine, and they go into a nursing home and lose a sense of purpose. And it's crazy how quickly they deteriorate. The reason they need to have some reason to get up, to do something, to feel a sense of accomplishment. And then when you combine that with some excitement and some energy, makes all the difference in the world.
You know what's interesting though is, and I experienced this in my last company. It's amazing how the people you work with can degrade your passion. Because that's what happened to me the last couple of years in my old company. I just couldn't stand my partner anymore, and I just lost all passion for doing anything, and I just walked away. And I think people forget that too.
I couldn't agree with you more. I constantly counsel people that if you can't elevate somebody, walk away from them before they drag you down. Right? Again, I seem to be quoting Einstein a lot. Avoid a negative people. They have a problem for every solution. Hey, Jeff, we were starting to ask you, and then we all got passionate and got off the track. Tell us about what passioned you and fired you up.
Well, first of all, I want to politely correct Mr. Nethercott. It's flight attendants.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your wife, on behalf of my wife, who used to be one.
Okay.
Don't call them stewardesses, please.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was incorrect. They might call them something else now, because it's like, I got to be inclusive of everything. So, air help, maybe air helpers.
And passion, man. I love what I do. And Mike and Larry probably know me best here, but I can't wait. And it sounds trivial. I got up at 3:30 this morning, okay, to do something, because yesterday, my biggest client, we're doing an integration with Salesforce, and it was like not ready.
Yeah.
He thought I was going to do a lot more of it. And I'm like, it ain't my thing, but we'll figure it out. So we spent 4 hours yesterday digging into it. We got it working, and I went to sleep well. I felt like really got something accomplished. But at 3:30, something dawned on me. Wow, we forgot to do this. I had to get up, and I had to go over to my computer and do it. And I went back to bed. But I love solving problems. And as strange as it sounds, I kind of dwell on the complexity of stuff. I like, tell me something can't be done, and man, I'm not going down without swinging. I may be as tall as Larry, but we got a lot of fire in the belly. And so that's what really drives me. I love solving problems, for my friends, my family, I got a few friends that, need a hand up now, and we're working out some things. I'm trying to do some stuff on the side for them and help them. But, and the first comment I heard was give without thinking about getting something back.
Yep.
My wife and I, serve at our church. We do a thing called For Aurora for our whole community. And we serve over 1,000 hot meals every Thursday. And, it gives us more than it gives those people. I really think so, and I don't want to sound trite or sappy by saying that, but it's really true. And when we talked about this before, when you feel down in the dumps, what's the best way to get out of it? Go do something good for somebody else.
True.
Yep.
You'll snap out of it, man.
Jeff, not only are you right, but one of the things, again, that I train on is people spend too much time looking at things as obstacles. Let's look at everything as a challenge, because everybody gets the same feeling. They love it when somebody tells them they can't do something and then they accomplish it. If we look at things as, boy, is it going to be great when I do this or I figure this out, it motivates you rather than figure, why bother, I'm never going to get to the bottom.
We got a couple of comments. We got a comment from Roger Heaton Jr. I don't know.
Hendon, yeah.
Hendon, yeah. I might have butchered it. Said, "Let's go, cuz." And then we got a comment from another comment from Jamie Alexander. It definitely is a finding the right balance of passion and purpose. I thought that was pretty good. But go ahead, sir.
Well, I was just going to close with up on my wall, and I don't know if I said this a couple weeks ago, but it's worth saying again. I have a scripture or a little thing up on my wall. It says, "It always seems impossible until it's done."
See, and I like Ecclesiastes, which is whatever thy hand shall find, do it with all thy might. How great does it feel to say, I'm going to do my absolute best rather than hit people with the excuse of time? Hey, somehow we always get to him last, and he's my main guy. Mr. Larkin, tell us about your passion, my brother.
My passion is up on my screen. So ever since I started doing digital marketing and now AI, we love what we're able to do. It's symbolized with the heart. We're loyal to our clients and our staff, and the two hands coming together, we seek to establish lifelong friendships every single day. And anybody who's being paid by me and my organization follows that. So it laid the foundation for building a big building, and it's at the ground level, but it's going up very quickly.
That's good.
So, but I always hear from the people on a daily basis how they got into the car business, and many of them started someplace else and are passionate for it once they got going in it and had a little success with it and fell in love with it, and they have a passion for being successful with it, but they didn't start out that way. Do you find the same thing, guys?
Michael, it's the way life rolls. Nobody winds up where they think they're going to wind up. You guys all know I'm a musician, and even though I acknowledge the Beatles, the greatest band of all time, I like the Rolling Stones better. And I can famously remember Mick Jagger saying, "If I'm singing Satisfaction when I'm 40, shoot." Well, I saw him at the stadium, and he was singing it at 80.
Right.
We wind up in places we don't think we're going to wind up. The key is not to lose your inner child and stop limiting yourself as to what you're capable of or what you think you're going to do.
Larry, who was that other band? I mean, the Stones. You're a fan of the Stones. Who was that other band who were?
But the Beatles are the greatest band of all time. They went from being a boy band to doing Eleanor Rigby and Sgt. Pepper. There's just nobody like them. I mean, imagine a band so great that the third best songwriter is George Harrison, who wrote Something, Here Comes the Sun, and While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I mean, in the Who, you have Pete Townsend, who's brilliant. In the Kinks, you have Ray Davies, who's brilliant. Who the hell has three songwriters that astonishing? It's impossible. And their harmonies, they may not be as good as the Everly Brothers, but man, you listen to some of those early Beatle harmonies, or listen, if anybody has the Anthology 3, they took the track of the stacked vocals on Because. It's enough to make you quit music if you're a musician.
I'll throw the Eagles in there too, Larry, because every one of those guys could
Well,
stand.
the advantage the Eagles had, you got 4 or 5 guys singing. They didn't even have to stack it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my point is that when we were young, we would say, hey, I'm going to be a rock star, or I'm going to be a fireman, or I'm going to be a jet fighter after seeing Top Gun as a junior in high school.
Yeah, but we
never came to wishing, but
Mike, what about Arrested Development? I'm still trying to be a rock star, and Joe Jackson literally is a firefighter.
Yeah, I mean,
look sharp.
I think a lot of that is that sometimes you do other things to as you go down that path to get to the thing you want to do. I mean, I remember getting into the car business, even though my family was in the business. But when I got into the car business, my older brother said, "Oh, what are you thinking, dude? Like, that's a bad idea. Like, don't do that." And I thought that was really interesting because now, years later now, I mean, he works with car dealers, not in the dealership retail, but he works with them because he realizes that the opportunity there. But I think in a lot of cases, you do jobs because you say, I need a job to do something to pay my bills or whatever, but it doesn't end up being the right job. Like, you do the job and you're like, this is not for me. And eventually, hopefully you get onto a job you love. Some people get lucky and they get onto it right out of the gate. Like, the first job they take is that one they live with and ride with. But that's unusual. Like, most of the people I met in the car business didn't start there. They started somewhere else.
Because the preconceived notion is that it's not the most desirable job. I remember when I, this has got to be 25 years ago, I saw a great cartoon. And what it said was, "Dear Abby, I'm going to propose to my girlfriend. My only concern is, what should I tell her? My father is in jail for double homicide. My cousin is an embezzler, and my brother is a car salesman. Do you think it's wise to tell her about my brother, the car salesman?" So the perception of us is not always that, but you know what? I'm going back to my boy Jeff Shearer. I love that because nothing's stronger than when a negative is overcome by a positive, and they expect you not to be a good guy and honorable, and you are. It's so easy to turn that around because they've set the bar so low in their own mind.
And one
100%.
more thing to tag on that, Larry.
Yeah.
We've all worked, each one of us have worked for the worst boss in the world. Maybe bosses. I think I worked for the Antichrist.
Whoa. Ron, you stop nodding your head.
I wasn't looking at
He's talking about the past.
I wasn't looking at Rhonda. But doesn't that make you passionate about doing business better today? Because you
totally
lived through the hell, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
can I tell your secret? I get a call from Ron. I met Rhonda through Harry Wilner, who works with me and who's many of you have met on the show. And he said, "Larry, you're training, you're recruiting, it's unbelievable. We got to get you better known. I have a great marketer named Rhonda." So I met Rhonda, and 4 months later, she called me up. She says, "Listen, let me tell you how hard I'm going to work for you. The only person I want to work with is you. I like all my clients, but I like working with you the best." What it did is it made me feel great, and it made me work even harder because here I got somebody that's got my back so much. So once again, passion is so strong. I'm so tired of people say, new day, same old crap, or it is what it is, or whatever. How about if we're excited about what we do? How about if we can't wait to get there and to do it rather than, I got to go do that? Doug, again, I quote him because I see so many people suffering from not learning the lesson. Thoreau said, "Most men lead lives of quiet desperation." I feel sorry for people that get up in the morning and dread going to work, and they're there all day and they're miserable, and then they go home and they rinse and repeat. I mean, I'm crazy, but I'm excited to do every damn thing.
I think the other thing that helped me was a healthy curiosity. I always want to learn more about what I'm involved in, and the more I learn, the more it motivates me to be more passionate about what I'm doing. And a lot of people, and Ian, you used the phrase almost without thinking. You said, "Oh, it's a job, it's a job." There's a difference between a job and a career. And I think if you have a career, you probably have a passion. If you have a job, you don't.
Oh, 100%. I mean, there was a, I think it was a Harry Chapin album I was listening to years and years ago, and he was talking about his grandfather who was a painter. And he was talking about good tired and bad tired. He said, "I may not have won all the battles, but and I may not have been as successful as a painter as I wanted to be, but I loved what I did, and I was good tired." And I agree with you on the passion side. If you're not interested in getting better at what you do, if you're not passionate about the job that you do, you need to find a different job. I don't understand how someone could have a job for 30 years doing something they disdain. Like, I mean, no matter how much they pay you, it's just not a way to live your life. And I think it's a Steve Jobs quote. If life is too short to not love what you do, or something to that effect. And I loved helping people when I got into sales, and it was that by accident. But in the car business, it was really about helping people, A, in retail, and then B, outside of retail. And hey, I'm just going to show you what you don't know that maybe will help you get better at what you do. And more importantly, share other people's opinions that are better at what they do than me, because they know that better than me. And they can help you as well. I mean, I talked to a guy this week in digital signage for the car business, and I know nothing about that area. I'm like, okay, so it's like the McDonald's sign, I guess, like inside? He's like, no, it does more than that. I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. I have no idea what to do with that, but there's a benefit. And, when you go to a dealer, sometimes you got to share stuff that isn't your thing, but it helps them out. And in car sales, or even in any business, if you're not focused on getting better at what you do, you're going to eventually lose to the competition. But definitely find something you're passionate about. If you don't do that, it's going to be a long haul. It's just going to be long, right?
Well, I touched on something. You touched on something that really made a lot of sense too. It's like, and this was something that was ingrained in me as a youngster, which is, you always want to leave something better than when you found it.
Yeah.
So even if you can't help the client, if you can help with what you have, if you can help them with what you know, and guide them in the right direction, you've still achieved success.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I worked with Nissan, I remember saying to these dealers, they said, "I want to sell more accessories, or I want to sell more parts." I said, "Are you accessorizing the cars in your showroom? Do you have a good display in the parts department? Are you promoting what you sell in the service drive? Are you doing something, say, with a television to talk about the parts offers you have? Are you doing any of these things?" No. Well, I don't know. Maybe not do all of it, but that would be a good start. But, at least do one thing. I mean, I did a show on used cars, and I said, well, there's lots of sources of used cars, but the problem you have is you're only picking one when you really should be picking all of them, right? If you're having trouble, you got to widen that net. Right? You got to widen your tactics, and maybe you need to learn some new tactics. I mean, we're talking about AI, but also how people buy cars. Yeah, you got to get better at that. I mean, you shouldn't be selling cars like it's 1950 anymore. It should have changed a little bit. Like, it's been a while.
Absolutely. Yeah. Why don't we get my boy out there? He's always passionate about it. And then let's hear from my friend Gary's son.
Well, the thing is the passion is what gets you through all these years. Is when you enjoy what you're truly doing. It's like I said previously before, for me, the passion for sales was always there, because I never wanted to work for somebody. Being on commission was the right way for me to earn a good paycheck. It's just what I wanted to earn. And then the passion was, like I said, being with the people, helping the people, and transportation, especially in Southern California, it's a great industry to be in, because not only you're constantly busy, but you're also in a good area and a good team, and you always it's from within. And you enjoy what you're doing, like you said, then it's not a job, it's a career. And that's why it's been a nice, wonderful 35-year plus career for me.
I love it, Abdul. I understand how great it feels to work for yourself. The only problem I have with that is then I realized my boss was crazy. So
Well, then numbers, whenever you put up the numbers, then the crazy boss is less crazy. So that helps.
But at least it's your kind of crazy, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's better for insanity to be a pre-existing condition than to let them make you crazy.
Yeah.
Mr. Silman, you should know all about crazy because you hang around too much with me and Mark. So tell us about your passion.
I would say that passion is a part of my DNA, and being in the automobile industry for the last 40 years and watching the different levels of passion. And it's very interesting as we talk about years ago, the salespeople on the floor were just warm bodies. And, you know, it used to be that there was an ex-alcoholic guy who was divorced, single mom, and the showroom was littered with all these different characters. But when you had leaders in good management, and management was involved with helping them find their swings and helping them sell their first, second, and then starting to become a chronic producer. And, you know, for so many years, I've had the luxury of building teams for dealers where they were like clockwork. The F&I manager knew what they were doing. The salespeople were trained. Everybody was getting incentivized for disclosing and playing the Simonized video. And when you can take a showroom of unfortunately, you could call them misfits, and bring them all together and help them build their own base of customers, and then it lasts, that's the joy in the industry. Because we all, at some point or another, can recall good stores that we were successful with and bad stores. In the good stores, when you walked in, you knew the lot people, you knew everybody, and the mission was, hey, I sold a Simo the other day. Or, hey, when it's helping the staff get better and helping them overcome their fears, that's what leadership is. And what, you know, today, leadership is the dealer or the owner, and they set the tone. And if they don't set the tone correctly and it gets left to everybody to do it, you don't have successful dealerships. And then when you take these dealers that learned that giving back is their joy and they take care of their communities that they're in, that's success. And so in this world that we're in right now, it's really, really great to watch success happening with dealers. And I always mention him because he's on top of mind. He's like J.R. Toothman. And J.R. Toothman is working his butt off with his guys, trying to get the right inventory and having the cars and going to what lengths that they have to do to get inventory to be able to produce in their machines. Now we've got video. And what's really great is watching these young men and old men and women and young men and women going to social media and building their own network. And this is where the entrepreneurial spirit is living great in the auto industry when the dealers give fertile soil. And until they start realizing that they need to put some topsoil down and they need to start cleaning up everything, that's where there's gold today. So passion is about getting a system that works where everybody knows and the consumer wins. And there's a lot of dealers looking at this, and thank goodness, because up until about 5 or 6 years ago, nobody wanted to talk about it. It was still the grind. And it was still, don't talk to that one, and this is my secret, and I don't want to disclose this, and don't do that. Now it's like, no. Show that you're good people. Show that your showroom is a wonderful showroom with hot coffee and the kids can hang out. And you have 5 salespeople on the desk or on your showroom and here's all their portfolios of what they like to do. If you're an outdoorsman, this is the guy you want to talk to. If you're a knitter or you do needlepoint or whatever here, and so the right here, we're having a wonderful conversation with positive talking points. We're hoping that people are watching this and taking notes. Is that yeah, that's what I do want to do, and I do want to try this, and I don't want to be stopped, and so I'm gonna step up tomorrow, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do whether they give me permission or not, and it's always better to get permission. But sometimes forgiveness isn't bad when you prove a point that if you let me do this, I can move the needle.
Hey, Garrett, would you mind, and then we'll jump to Jason Reed, who was kind enough to jump in. I'm looking at your hat, and you know, I'm a historian and a baseball guy, and the Boston Red Sox were 2 of the first teams in baseball. It was the Cubs and the Red Sox could never win. Every nightmarish thing you could possibly imagine. And yet, I've been to a Cubs game when I visited Chicago, and I've been to a Red Sox game. You never saw more fervent fans. So look at the reward they got from being passionate. The teams didn't win. They could never catch the Yankees. The Cubs, they could never get a break. But their fans loved it. Passion feeds on itself. Passion engages you, so you engage your customer. It's the biggest win-win there is. Nobody wants to deal with this. Can I help you?
In 2004, after the 2003 boom debacle, okay, Boston Red Sox.
Don't say the name with the F word because she'll pull
I
out
know,
the
I
swear
get that. But the most passionate thing is you had grandchildren crying because they knew that their grandfather, that they won. And so the passion that came out from grandchildren, because their grandparents and their parents, they were loyal fans. That was what it is. And hey, I'm thrilled. 2 of my daughters are in Boston right now. I'm hoping my 3rd. Boston is a wonderful community, and the Red Sox bring passion. And we finally, by sweeping the Yankees in 2004, finally I was able to get back at Scott Hodis, who tortured me for 30 years.
Don't downplay it. They didn't sweep them. They were down 3-0.
They humiliated them.
Which is physically impossible. I mean, teams have come back from 3-1, but nobody's ever come back from 3-0. It ain't happening.
But hey, not to change the subject, but our Connecticut Little League, the Fairfield boys, do you see these 12-year-old kids? They won today at 3:00. They played Las Vegas.
Yeah.
These kids are unbelievable. The catcher and the guys in the outfield, Gunn, Larry. I mean, they block the bases. So it's very exciting to watch this. Michael told me about it. I said, I gotta watch that. So our Fairfield, Connecticut Little League, our 12-year-olds just won, and I think they're gonna make it to the World Series now. So they just won the Little League championship today.
Does everybody, and then we'll jump to Jason. Does everybody see the smile on his face and the excitement? That's the passion that if we live our lives with, hope they will succeed. Jason.
Here's the other thing. When my Cub won the pennant and your Red Sox won the pennant, they didn't burn the city down.
Exactly. Hey, Epstein, you know, that guy, Epstein, you want to talk about Billy Ball and knowing that guy's a genius and he knew how to build a team and he did it twice. God bless him.
He was a GM for the Red Sox and also the Cubs that won World Series.
That's Theo. That guy, brilliant guy, brilliant. Unbelievable. Okay.
We got a comment from Stephen Ampasella. Stephen Ampasella said, watching, learning, and contributing. Cheers, everybody.
I love it. Thank you so much, Steve.
Ampasella, he's a great guy. He's built a great product. That's for sure.
Yep. Jason Reed, tell us about your passion, my buddy, and it's so good to see you again on the show.
You're muted.
There we go. All right, there we go. All right.
There you go.
Well,
Good to see you again, my
hello.
friend.
Hi, guys. How y'all doing?
Good.
I am Jason. We're glad you're back.
It's been a while, obviously. I've been a bit busy, but, passion, for me is, I'm not gonna say a hot topic, but it is, it's a topic that should reign supreme in every one of our hearts, because if you're passionate about what you're doing, you exude it. Your body breathes it. Your customers can smell it. If it was a pheromone, it would be the most infectious pheromone that you could find, and it would sell on the black web for millions of dollars.
Hey, Jason, don't forget, fan is derivative from fanatic.
You gotta guess. And, when I started my career with Audi a long time ago, one of their mantras was to create a fan of the brand. And that's exactly what we were tasked with as salespeople, to create a fan of the brand. We didn't sell cars, we sold the brand. We sold the idea of what it was to be an Audi. We sold the idea of what the history was behind the brand, and how the cars were engineered, and why we were different from others that were in the same segment. There's a lot of manufacturers and dealers and people that just have lost that level of Kool-Aid drinking, is what I'm gonna say. Everybody needs to get back on the Kool-Aid sauce and get the passion back.
I agree.
Jason, you know how I feel, man. If you're not excited, why show up?
Exactly. Why bother? There's no point in putting any effort in if you're gonna be half butt effort. I forgot we can't cuss. I almost slipped there.
Half butt? Half butt?
Bucket there, Rhonda.
Butt head?
Hey, we're all behaving a lot better now that we know it's live streaming, because Ian's got us live streaming, so everyone's watching their P's and Q's.
And let's,
When I'm live streaming, that's when I'm acting my worst. I'm gonna tell you that much. Live streaming puts the bad out of it.
I love it.
But I think that, the passion in everybody can be found. If it's lost, you can find it. It's never gone forever. You just have to be the one willing to go look for it and seek out the opportunity. And if you're not happy where you're at, you can be happy somewhere else. There's other places for you to go. And believe me, in my 23 plus years in the car business, I've worked like everybody in this room for some major tyrants. But I've never not learned from a single manager that I've ever had.
Jason, you know what we need to do? Instead of steak or beans contests, we need to take people to graveyards and say, unfortunately, you're going to be here one day. While you're alive, you should turn the volume up to 11. You should have as much fun, make as much money, do as much stuff as you possibly can, because we forget sometimes we're here for a short visit. And I tell people all the time, if you don't want to work, go on unemployment, sit in your underwear, watch reruns. It's stupid, but I get it.
No, don't tell them that, because we pay for that.
What blows my mind, Jason, is they elect to come to work and then they don't work.
He was talking about Canada,
work 8
Jason.
hours and not be productive.
Jason, he was talking about Canada.
Ouch.
Whoa. Ever since Ian Nethercott became my partner on Lethal Sales, I am no longer picking on Canada. I've turned to New Zealand. So if you see me attacked by a kangaroo, you'll know.
I'm not responsible for the clout we got running the country. That's his problem.
So I just wait a minute, Ian. It might not be as clean a cut as you thought. Maybe Trudeau is still acting as an advisor, or they would have paid the flight attendants.
I don't know. I mean, I was talking earlier because we may be looking at the newest country created in North America, which might be Alberta soon. So we'll see how that goes. It's likely.
They're still fighting over the separation of the French and the English and Canada and all that.
Well, it's interesting. So in Alberta, if you're not familiar with Alberta, I happen to live in Alberta these days, but they have the third largest oil reserves on planet Earth. And the federal government, in their infinite wisdom, decided that maybe we shouldn't export that oil at scale to anybody. So they won't let them build pipelines. So they ship it in other ways. But the thing that was funny is now they're saying, no, we don't care what you think. We're going to do what we want to do. And then now it's like, okay, now we're going to vote to separate from the country. So, of course, to your point with the French, who tried this many years ago, the French are now saying they're going to do it again. Because they're like, yeah, you've inspired us. Now we're going to leave too. So that doesn't leave much of the country. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But it's definitely interesting times. And I think I got to thank President Trump for basically inspiring the conservative movement in Canada that's doing quite well, but also scaring the bejesus out of the lefties in the country who don't know what to do.
What's happening here too?
What was it? What I saw today. So there's if you're familiar with Austin Powers way back, he did a skit in one of the movies where he said, I really dislike nuclear war, but the second thing I dislike is carnies. And I said, so that's why you did the ad for Mark Carney, I guess.
He's not here tonight, but I keep on channeling throughout this whole conversation Russell Hill. And the
Russell
difference.
told me ahead of time, he said he wasn't feeling well. He told me to say hello to everybody. So hello, everybody.
God bless that guy.
Hi, Russell.
But he always talks about the difference in attitude, which is I have to do something or I get to do something.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's for you, Russell. I miss you tonight. At least I'm not following your speech.
And
an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, buddy.
is what you
Exactly.
should have.
Exactly.
And he brings the passion. Russell
Yeah.
is
Oh, yeah.
what a passionate guy, and when he delivers his product, boy, he's second to nobody.
Yeah, and if you don't have that challenge and you don't have that passion and you don't have that hill to overcome or that challenge to fix or that person to help, what's the point? Like there's got to be some challenge. Nothing that's easy to do is worth doing. Like, why are you doing that? Like, that's why that stuff doesn't work, right? Like, there's got to be some resistance. There's got to be someone saying that maybe isn't the right idea. Explain.
Ian, Rhonda puts up with me all the time. Rhonda, tell us about your passion and your unlimited patience.
Well, it's okay. So I'm reading an article today about super agers, people who are aging better than everybody else. At 80 and 90, they are still, completely involved in life and everything else. And one of the main reasons that they are like that is because they are social, because they always engage with people. They make sure they get out, they do things. And I think in a funny kind of way, I mean, it's not like, I just like people so much that I like doing things with people. And this is somebody who works by herself in an office all day. But, whether it's online or in person, I will go out of my way to be with people. I'm a crazed party giver. When I have the time and the money, I enjoy having like tons of people around and giving them parties, and that's a big passion of mine. But what I found in terms of work was I wanted to be a graphic artist since I was a little kid, and I was, and I got there, and it wasn't enough business-wise, so I sort of had to add things on. So somebody would come along and say, "Hey, can you write copy?" And I'd say, "Yeah, sure," and I'd toddle off and learn how to write copy. And then what that turned into was this passion for learning. I can't go one day without learning something. It doesn't even matter what it applies to. It doesn't mean that I need it for work. I need to learn something, or my day is a failure. That, and I must laugh at something, or my day is a failure. And that's basically it. I mean, there's a lot of things I'd like to do, but those are the two things that drive me all day.
So curiosity, an attitude of gratitude, and a willingness and being eager to laugh. Think how great those things are. And all three of those things are earmarks of passionate people, which makes them not only more passionate, but the people around them more passionate.
Yeah.
How great is it? Clement Stone, the guy that invented insurance door-to-door sales, made himself a multimillionaire. He said, our attitude is more important than the prospects. How many times have we all heard a salesman say, that guy's a jerk, he's never buying a car? No, he's gonna buy a car from the guy that he jerks him. We have the ability to turn people's attitudes around, but we have to be of a mind that I'm happy, I want you to be happy. Rather than I'm miserable, you're miserable, I'm gonna make you more miserable. It's just crazy how we can radiate at this stuff from the inside out and change just everything around us. Isn't it amazing how people that have rotten attitudes get better attitudes, and all of a sudden they decide how much nicer everybody's being? Well, they were always nice. It was you. You were filtering everything through a dark lens.
Yeah.
Well, there's a great movie that you should watch. It's actually based on a real guy. It's called Door to Door. And it's about the real person. Is played by William H. Macy, the actor. So he's a real guy who was physically disabled and went in to get a job selling door-to-door products. And they said, we don't hire cripples. And he goes, well, give me your worst territory. What do you have to lose? And he ended up being one of the most successful door-to-door salesmen at that time. And the movie's interesting because it also covers the transition from door-to-door to phone sales. So that transition from that historic, difficult challenge of selling stuff door-to-door to phone sales eventually. But what's most important about it from a passion point of view is his mother inspired him to go and try and get the job. And they basically flatly denied him based on stuff that you probably couldn't do logically today. But that didn't stop the guy. Like, he was like, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. And he was very successful at it. It's a great movie if you're a salesperson or just want inspiration in your life. It's called Door to Door.
Ian, I think they did
Really
a
good.
remake of that.
Yeah.
Ian, I think they did a remake of that called Glenn Garrett and Glenn Ross.
No, this is I think this is newer actually than Glengarry Glen Ross. It's a pretty recent.
Phone and door to door.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great. I was just impressed with the fact that he did it anyway. Like, that impressed the hell out of me.
Who's got the leads?
Yeah. The Glen.
You know what's interesting to me? I mean, two things. One, it may just be me, but to me, every time I hear Gary talk, I think I'm listening to Joe Walsh talking, because he sounds just like Joe Walsh to me. But outside of that, what's interesting to me was, and you talked about door to door, and then they went to phone. What I'm finding is it is hard to it's harder to convey your passion on a phone or a Zoom call than it is face to face. You guys experience that?
Yes.
100%.
You're still a filter.
You're in our society, but yet now everything's Zoom this, Zoom that, phone this, text that. And it's like we've said all along, it's the face to face that gets things done. To me, that's where the passion really comes through.
But Doug, look at how the internal consideration of phones are. Listen, I'm about 100 years old. When I was a kid and the phone rang in the house, everybody ran to the phone to see who was on the phone. It was totally fair. Now you got everybody on earth has a phone, and the only person that answers your damn phone, it appears, is me. Anybody on this program that's ever called me, you get my butt. We've taken everything that could be passionate and fun and easy and made it too politically incorrect or too difficult or too filtered or just too hard to connect. Well, I mean, it's scary with young people how they just I told this story, Doug. I swear to God, it's true. I'm a little short guy, but I'm a basketball player. I play well, and I love to play. And I put a hoop upside for my nephew. And he called me up one day. He says, Uncle Larry, will you come over and play basketball? I says, gladly. I get to his house. He pulls out a computer game and wants to play on a computer. I said, are you insane? I put a court up. Let's go outside.
Well, hey, Doug, you made a point, and this is a point for your company as well. With all of the information and all the talk shows and all of everything that's going on out there, the stats are saying that 80% of the consumers want to start their new purchase online. and Cox Automotive does it, you do it. Why won't dealers meet them where they are? And if they want to create new passion, start responding quicker and realize that the consumer is starting and they want to start online and they want to have omni channels. They want to talk and they want to come in, and you got to start it. I'm sorry, Ian.
I got a thought on that, actually. So it's interesting you bring that up. So I was talking to my friends at Numa, and they were talking to Toyota. And Toyota was talking about digital retail specifically, and how basically after the pandemic, the interaction with digital retail, pick your, Roadster, Moto Insight, there's a bunch of companies, obviously Doug's company very familiar with as well. I think the reason is as follows. You need to develop that concierge service within your process, whatever your process is, but you need to have somebody that will be of help to that person when they need help. Because part of the issue with digital retail, pick your product or pick your system, is they expect you, Mr. Car Customer, buys a car every 3 to 5 years, to figure it out without any help. And that's insane. That's like trying to figure out a mortgage without a mortgage broker or banker. Okay, just fill in this form, sign here, and then, we'll get back to you.
Absolutely. We gave everybody, when we started to figure they could post cars online. So now everyone's got cars online and that they're flooding it, but they have no pathway to that customer who needs help at the first step.
Yeah, but look at what's happening with Amazon. So Amazon started with Hyundai. Now they're doing certified, and it was just announced today they're doing Hertz. So, but even with Amazon and even with A to Z and even with a bunch of different solutions out there, that doesn't mean, and I remember Carvana years ago was at Used Car Week and they were all upset about that. At the end of the day, you have a website, you have inventory, you have staff. You need to figure out a solution to help customers who are on your website or reaching out to make it easy for them to buy how they want to buy, period, full stop. Pick your tool.
Own yellow brick
road. Yeah,
exactly.
They're going to want to buy the way they want to buy, right? Blockbuster had to figure that out. They'd be Netflix today.
Well, A to Z,
right?
Doug Reese's company
absolutely.
is showing it and it's winning.
Absolutely. But that's not true just in selling cars. It's in service too.
I mean,
right?
Why do you think Amazon's going to be so successful? Because
it's customer experience.
Used to the platform.
Yeah.
They're already sold. They're already sold on Amazon. They're already, it's Amazon. That once Amazon, they trust Amazon, and now they'll trust Amazon for a bigger purchase.
But Costco be the same thing. If Costco sold cars, people would buy them at Costco for the same reason.
Amazon's going to run into a problem trying to match up because they're never going to find a way to replicate the rudeness and ignorance of most cars.
Okay, so there it is.
Yeah, there will be a select group that says, I don't want to buy that way. Abuse me, man. I want the abuse. I miss the abuse.
I put a link in the chat there. Watch it offline or something. But Sebastian Maniscalco did a bid on when the doorbell rings.
I saw that. That's very funny.
Did you ever see that gentleman? It was years ago. He was selling something door to door, African American young guy, and he was selling it like I'll have to dig up the clip, but he was selling it like crazy, and I was like, wow, this guy's entertaining.
It was cleaning supplies.
Yeah, it was cleaning supplies. It was unbelievable, unbelievable what the guy was doing. Yeah, it was unbelievable. So if you can do that for car sales, could you do that for service? Yes. Could you do that for parts? Yes. Could you change the way a dealership operated around the customer? Absolutely. Could you do that? Yeah, but you got to get started. You got to put in the work. You got to listen to your customers. And maybe, to Larry's point, you'll need a room for people who want to be abused, like that, that Little Shop of Horrors dentistry scene comes to mind. Yeah, I really want that heavy negotiation. That's why I come here every 5 years.
We certainly found some passion about that.
Yeah. And I put in the chat, just in case you weren't familiar with that movie, you can stream it now. I watched it probably on VHS, but it's been around a while.
Or Ian, they can go back to Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
It's our last musical reference to the show. One of the greatest Motown singers of all time. Levi Stubbs was the voice of the giant,
Yeah.
plant.
Feed me. Feed me, Seymour.
And we are out of time, I think. Wow. Crazy.
It's 7:59. Doug, Jason, Abdul, everybody. We appreciate the heck out of you.
Yep.
We look forward to seeing you. We promise to continue from our end to keep bringing the passion, if you will. And on behalf of Ian and Rhonda and myself, we can't thank you enough. We appreciate you every week, and talk to you guys all soon. Everybody stay healthy, please.
Hey, well,
Yep.
look for us 3:00 Friday.
Right.
Mackie Hughes on the Big Idea podcast. Mackie is a veteran in the auto industry. He's been national manager for Simonize, and Mackie's gonna talk to us about some good stuff.
Rock and
Really
roll.
looking forward to it.
Everybody stay healthy. See you on Friday and see you next Wednesday. And obviously see you on Ian's show every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard.
Now, next week it's about
Good
data.
night, everyone.
Data's next week's show.
Good night.
Bye.